Good afternoon. No. Good afternoon. Great. As we have said, Zenith Live is about learning from each other. It's learning from leaders who have done this journey. Okay. Our next session is with one of the most experienced transformation leaders, Chief Information Security Officer, Nicole Darden-Ford, who hasn't done this journey once, but multiple times. Let me welcome Nicole to the stage so she and I will have a fireside chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great for joining us. So first time I met Nicole was fall of 2017. Time flies.
Yes.
She and John Maya, who was the head of infrastructure for Baxter, they joined us at a customer advisory board meeting in Scottsdale, Arizona. And they had a sense of, I need to get this transformation done because my CIO is asking for it. So that was my first learning, that this is a smart company where CISO and head of infrastructure are coming together because they realized that this problem has to be solved. 2 weeks later, I was at the headquarters of Baxter in Chicago for a meeting that Nicole arranged with Paul Martin, the CIO of Baxter at that time. And this was interesting. Paul had kind of said, I want to move this company at a rapid pace. And his thing was, I want to go all in with trusted partners. And he wanted me to sit down with me and meet with him to make sure we can help with this journey. And one interesting comment I recall when he got the meeting together with a number of people, he said, we are driving transformation. Those of you who aren't bought into it, and those of you who are box huggers, please leave the meeting. Okay. I was stunned. Then I said, wow, this is a leader who is committed to transformation. So with that, Nicole, tell me a little bit about your background, because you've done quite a bit out there. And I look at you as a transformation leader.
Absolutely. So I have been a CISO for a number of years. I've been in cybersecurity for over 20. I started my career in the Department of Defense. Fast forward to becoming the CISO at Baxter Healthcare. I was also the CISO, the first CISO for Carrier Global Corporation, and now I am the CISO for Rockwell Automation.
You like challenges. I mean, I recall.
Yes.
When I met you, Baxter was trying to go through changes. They are doing some mergers. There's a lot of changes going on. And then you moved to Carrier. I recall, I said, Carrier? It was being divested out of UTC,
yes.
A big conglomerate. So you must be liking.
Well, so let me go back to my first kind of exposure to Zscaler. I remember having a conversation with Larry Biagini, who is an iconic CISO for GE, and he, as a CISO, he helped me understand why this Zero Trust made sense, why it would simplify my job as a CISO. It just so happened that John Maya had the same conversation. So Larry gets around.
Yes.
And it made sense for us. My number one job is to protect the organization, right? And I have to do that. But also, what I've learned along the way is that it's critical to have an innovative mindset, right? You have to solve a problem. That's what we're here to do as CISOs, CTOs, and CIOs. And that's really what spawned and sparked the conversation. You have to be willing to listen, which was really important to me, talking to Larry and understanding why Zero Trust made sense 5 years ago, right? When it wasn't popular and it wasn't mainstream. And then you got to be willing to recalibrate, right? We already had this hub and spoke environment. It's very old, tech debt, a lot of tech debt. And we needed to be willing to refocus. And really, that's what Zscaler challenged us to do, is refocus our efforts and leverage the zero trust paradigm.
That's wonderful. You reminded me of Larry. Larry Bigini is my hero and mentor. He started transformation to the cloud at GE and invited us, Zscaler, as a small company in 2012. I learned two important things that Larry would say from time to time. I don't forget them. They're so important. One was, he said, if you try to secure everything, you won't secure anything. Yes. Prioritization. He said, my washers and dryers don't have any intellectual property, so do I care about protecting them the same way? Another thing, no. But I do care about protecting a jet engine IP because that's so important. So all of you sitting out there, when you try to secure everything, it doesn't work. Focus, prioritization becomes important. And there's another thing he said. He said, he was talking about his mobile sales force that used to do VPN to come through data center to go to the cloud. And I recall his word, he said, Jay, I forced my sales force to come to my data center so they could go out to use Salesforce. That's crazy. He said, I do three things wrong with that. One, I slow them down. Two, I put them on my network and create risk. And three, I pay for the bandwidth. It's silly. I should be going direct. This was 2012.
Yes.
Right? So we all get inspiration from each other. So this session is about kind of learning and getting inspiration. And I see you doing this journey. I still recall that at Baxter, you had some big objectives to take care of because Paul wanted to go fast.
Yeah, so number one, we cloud first, right, was his mantra, right? So we were going to transition most of our workloads to the cloud, whether it was a lift and shift or it was a full refactor. We were also in the middle of divestitures, right? And I can remember being a CISO there at Baxter and going to one of our potential divestitures and saying, oh my gosh, look at all of these vulnerabilities. What are we going to do?
This was an India-based acquisition you're trying to do.
Yes. Right. And it just so happened that we were in the middle of our Zscaler rollout.
Right.
And we actually presented it to you guys, and it was one of the options and opportunities that, hey, what if we can still give this company access to the applications that they need access to without exposing them to our network, right? So it didn't really matter how good or bad their hygiene was because they weren't going to be on our networks, but they still had access to what they needed. And that's what Zscaler really brought to the table for us.
You were doing Zero Trust before Zero Trust was popular.
Absolutely.
Right.
So most recently, the federal government has come out with recommendations around zero trust. And I laughed because I said, man, this is 5 years too late. But, I digress. Again, I'm glad that it's come out and it's opened everyone's eyes to the power of zero trust. Trust but verify. It's powerful, right? When you think about all of the endpoints and trying to understand where they're coming from and whether or not they pose a risk to your organization. So no longer do we have to do that if we leverage the zero trust strategies and look for a platform like Zscaler that offers so many of the capabilities we need in order to protect our environment. One other thing we were doing was we were migrating to Office 365. Yep. And at that point, you guys established a relationship with Microsoft. Yep. So
it was a new thing too.
It was.
Office 365 local breakout, and Microsoft at that time used to say, go back to the data center.
Yes, yes. So that was also attractive and a use case that really Zscaler helped support us with. User experience was so important to us at that point in time, and Office 365, we really wanted it to be a success. So Zscaler really helped us as we transitioned to that modern architecture.
I recall my discussion with Paul. Driver, demanding, and he wanted cost controls and cost reductions.
Yes.
How did you get the business case done?
Oh, it was a no-brainer,
Yeah?
right? Just when you think about the opportunity to really, your network, you don't have to invest in the same way you did before. That there was a lot of cost avoidance and cost savings there. We also, we actually transitioned from MPLS to SD-WAN. Again,
Right.
very new.
Yeah.
We saved there. It was a ton of different savings, a lot of cost avoidance for us, and the fact that we didn't have to upgrade that antiquated infrastructure that we had at the time.
That's very good. It's truly, I see across our customers, ROI is a no-brainer, but you need to look at things holistically. MPLS is only one piece of it.
Yes.
I mean, all these avoidance of cost, not having to buy and deploy boxes, operational costs. And if the traffic doesn't go to a data center, you no longer need to keep on upgrading your expensive routers, switches, firewalls, load balancers through it.
Yeah, we were able to reduce our data center footprint as well.
Right. I tell you the one customer's thing I'm most proud of from cost reduction is Edward Jones. Okay. They became our customer about 10 years ago. Okay. And you know what's special about it? When I went to see the CIO after 1 year, he said, Jay, I've done so many projects in my life, but this is the project where he said, because of my cost savings, every employee's bonus, because they are a private company on a bonus sharing plan. He said every employee's bonus went up by a few percent. And this company had about 40,000 employees. I mean, that makes me so happy and so gratified. That's why we think we can help you not only with user experience security, but simplification and cost reduction as well. So Baxter had 50-some thousand employees to roll out for ZIA and ZPA.
Yes, yes.
And
so yeah, if we can transition to Journey 2.
Yeah.
I think I have a really compelling story to tell you about transitioning to Carrier Global Corporation.
Yeah, maybe you can tell a little bit. I think a number of us know about them because of air conditioners and all. But they're a lot more than that.
Oh, absolutely.
56,000. I don't know, they were $20 billion annual sales company.
Yeah, absolutely. So Carrier Global Corporation is a HVAC, a fire security and safety company, as well as refrigeration. So when you think about even the vaccines, we provided the refrigerant trucks that transported the vaccines. So we're kind of like the company of companies that really helps in so many different areas that people just don't really know about, but we really add value.
And you are being divested. It was just happening.
Yes.
From UTC. By the way, United Technologies Corporation is a conglomerate.
Yes.
That had what? Raytheon was part of it, Otis Elevator was part of it, Carrier, and?
Yeah, so there were a plethora of companies under United Technologies, which is now Raytheon Technologies.
Oh.
And we were one of them. The decision was made to divest of their commercial entities, which was Otis and Carrier. And part of that was divesting of of that company or each of the companies, as well as rebranding as a standalone organization and IPOing. So all of that at one time was a big, big, big lift.
Yes, I like when you lined up a meeting with us, you had your infrastructure leaders, you had your CIO all together, you knew the playbook.
I learned, right? So going back to my Baxter days, I had a playbook, right? So again, when you are a change or transformation leader, you have a playbook. Once you see something work, you're able to leverage it again and again and again, and I had already seen it. So number one, as a part of change, is to make sure that you bring people along. My infrastructure team, we work hand in hand to make it happen. And so again, even though we have different roles, we came together for something that really catapulted Carrier. When you think about, they were a cloud first. It was a green field, meaning that we were starting from scratch. So reimagine, what would you do if you could start from scratch without all of the same tech debt? What would you build? And so we got an opportunity to build that. And part of our journey was Zscaler.
Right. And then COVID happened too, so, right? I recall that.
So a few weeks.
I recall that. You're
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
middle of
crazy.
these discussions, and then COVID hit us.
So we were in a pilot phase with Zscaler, and all of a sudden I go to India and I come back and I'm wondering why everybody's wearing a mask. I have no idea that COVID was happening. And I remember going into work and they said, hey, we have to send people home. I said, I'm sorry, when? What? We're IPOing in like 3 weeks. That's our focus. And so we didn't have enough capacity because, again, we were transitioning for everybody to go home and still work. So then we started to think, like, how are we going to solve this problem? We had the traditional hub and spoke model. We were backhauling traffic. It's kind of standard.
Still through UTC data
Still
center.
through UTC.
Right.
So, again, I remember a few calls to some of our providers, and they're like, I don't know if we can get this capacity to you in time. And so I remember calling Zscaler and saying, listen, we're in pilot mode. I'm not sure if you guys are even going to be able to help us, but can you help us transition all of these people?
And you wanted to roll out ZIA/ZPA to everyone very quickly.
Within 9 days, right? So it was 9 days. And so they were such an amazing partner. I remember they were almost like an extension of our team. And we sat in a war room, we came up with a plan, and they helped us to execute on that. And I can't even tell you how much of a benefit that was to the organization. When your CEO knows the name Zscaler, that's saying something, right?
That's wonderful. I think it was a great teamwork we did together to make that happen. Right?
Yes.
So let's move on to Rockwell automation.
Yes. So Rockwell is what I would consider the dominant player in the industrial automation space. Amazing company, really tech forward. We have iconic brands like Allen Bradley, Rockwell, Plex and Fix, and Factory Talk. So if you can imagine, Rockwell basically helps companies manufacture products. So most of the products you use today probably leveraged a Rockwell product to create it. So excellent company in the middle of a transformation as well. So yes, there are a few use cases we're bringing to bear where Zscaler certainly will come in and add instant value. We have mergers and acquisitions, as well as we're cloud first as well. We are also looking at transitioning some of our products to SaaS. So I'm really excited about some of the new announcements you made.
And I'm also excited about IoT and OT products you have.
Yes.
We need to make them zero trust, right?
Well, so Rockwell is really focused on IT, OT, and IoT and the convergence between all three. We bring a ton of information and expertise in that space. What's so amazing is when you talk about zero trust for OT, like it just made sense today. And certainly is a huge opportunity for Rockwell as well as for Zscaler.
Yeah, we look forward to working on that partnership, and we can come back and talk about Journey 3 next time. So let's move on. We have limited time. I want to get to kind of the gist or some of the things you learn. I mean, lots learned, but if you had to summarize it in the remaining couple of minutes, what should the CISOs consider as they jump on this journey?
I think that the zero trust architecture is the way to go. It's proven, again, trust but verify. This paradigm, I think people need to adopt. And again, I go back to that critical conversation with Larry to really help me understand, and that light bulb moment for me. I think really CISOs, CIOs, CDOs, CTOs really should think about this being the go forward from here on out. Right? Well, you talked a little bit about disruptive technologies, and they come every 20 to 30 years. I think that that's where zero trust is.
Exactly.
Platforms, not point products. Again, when I think about our ability to use ZPAs, ZIAs, and all of the other products that you guys provide, it's impactful, right? Having one platform, looking at one console instead of 10 or 15, the alert fatigue piece is real. And so look for a partner that can really help provide you a platform. And Zscaler, you guys do that well. And it's, as we've progressed and as we've matured, and as I've seen organizations mature, you've matured, which is amazing. The power of partnerships. I think it's important to partner with your infrastructure team or the infrastructure team partner with security, because although we have different objectives, we really have one common theme, and that is that's to protect and make sure that the user experience is optimal. And we can't do that alone. That partnership and that collaboration I've seen over and over again really has mattered. And then finally, a playbook. Run it again and again and again. The playbook works. We know it works. And again, I saw your book. I think that playbook matters. Get a copy.
That's wonderful. Nicole, we are out of time, although we could be talking about this for a long, long time.
Yes.
Thank you for your partnership, and thank you for your friendship.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.